Hey guys, welcome back to 3 Generations Restoration. Today we are going to be working on the Caterpillar D2. So let's get to work. So as all of you have may seen, we got the D2 in the shop. We got this in, I would say, a month ago. Finally going to be getting to do some work on it. I did replace the fuel pressure gauge. What we're going to be doing now, though, is we're going to be doing fuel timing. So today's fuel timing video is going to be done on a 1950 Caterpillar D2. 5U5858 is the serial number. This is a 4-inch bore, 4-inch stroke D311 diesel engine made by Caterpillar. So to do that, we are going to need to take this cover off. We're going to need to take all the fuel lines out. We're going to need to take each one of these capsules out so we can get a nice clean surface to work on and measure our fuel timing. And I got the directions to do it. I'm going to take you step by step on how to do it, and we're going to go ahead and get her done. Now the main reason we're doing this is because, as you can see here, we got a significant amount of slobber coming out. It, by the looks of it, cylinder number 2. Could be caused by, obviously, fuel timing. Could also be caused by, there's little fuel nozzles in here. Or it could be that the engine's wore out. Now I'm going to rule that the engine isn't wore out because I can get the engine nice and warm with the pony motor running for 2 minutes and it'll start right up. So I don't think the engine's wore out. What I do think is the problem, I do think that our fuel timing is off. Or we got some faulty fuel nozzles up in here. So we're going to start with fuel timing and go from there. And if that doesn't clean it up, we'll go to the nozzles. And then that should clean it up. We'll give it a hard workout and we should eliminate all the slobber. So let's give it a go. We're going to go ahead and take this inspection plate off. We're going to need access to do this fuel timing to do so. So we got a 1/2-inch socket. We're going to go ahead and buzz this off. Alright, so here's the plate. We're going to go ahead and set this down. We're going to want to keep this. The next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to take all these lines off. So we got access to all these capsules or top, whatever you want to call them. We're going to take them off. So let's go ahead and, I had this one loose, so you're probably thinking, what the heck? Why was that one so loose? Well, I did that one before just to see how tight they were. So go ahead and get all these off, and we're probably going to have to take them off on the top end as well because I don't want to break these or even have any issues. So there's the one. That one. Yeah, we're gonna have to take them off on top too. What I really need is a line wrench, but I don't got one. So there's that one. So all these are off. Oh, maybe not that. Okay, there we go. Now down in this hole here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 more nuts. We're going to get all them off. That way I can take the lines out, or at least get them loose enough so I can get some, a little movement so I can get these out. So okay, I don't know how much you guys are going to be able to see, but we're going to try to get these out without a crow's foot. And oh, that one is free. But this one right here is going to be a pain, a royal pain in the ass. So that has a seal on it, or a rubber. So let's get that out of the way. Boy, some of these are gonna, this one here, some of these are gonna suck. Now we got 2 and 4 out. Will we get 1 and 3 out? That's up to the tractor gods. Turn the fuel on just so I can get in here. Oh, it's looking like they're happy this time on a couple of them. Okay. Now, number 1. Will she come loose? The world may never... Oh, there we go. Looks like we might be getting lucky on these. As soon as I say that, I can't get it out. There we go. Alright, so we got all the lines loose. We should be able to now have enough room to get to all these bolts. Looks like I'm going to probably have to get a knuckle and get these out, so we're going to get these out now. So, alright, so we're going to go ahead now and we're going to take each one of these out. I went ahead and loosened up all these bolts because some of them are pretty tough to get at. So I'm going to speed this up. We're going to go ahead and get all these bolts out. So. You just saw me take all the bolts out. One thing I did before we're going to take these out is I quickly washed off all the grease with some ether and gave it a quick blow with some air. I covered up this little inspection port here. It's pretty important that you keep this clean. If you get any sort of dirt or anything inside the system, it'll cause some pretty big problems. So we got each injection pump off sitting on our table here in order. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We had to use a little screwdriver. You can kind of see it, but we went up underneath the fuel rack with a little help here with some channel locks. We pried these off, being pretty careful. And then we left each plunger in, and you guys can kind of see. I'll throw a picture up too on YouTube. There's a dot here on each plunger, and that corresponds to the line on the fuel rack, which you can see right here. And we want to make sure those stay lined up when we put this back on. So we took a lot of photos. That way we kind of know exactly where we're going to be. So we're going to go ahead and take these out now. So there's one. You can see now There's the dot you want to correspond with the fuel rack line, or this too. This is your line or reference. So we want to make sure that each one goes back with each of the same pumps. So set it like that. And to release these, all you have to do is kind of turn them out of their yokes like that. You can kind of see where it's sitting in there. All you do is you put it in back like that. To get it out, you twist it and pull it up. So here's number 2 plunger. Take out number 3. There's number 3 plunger. And then the final one, number 4. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that these are perfectly clean before we put them back on, because any contamination on this kind of a system will cause damage. So what we're going to do now is kind of get some of this dirt and grime out of here, and then we're going to have to start turning the engine over to start really measuring. So, okay guys, so I got my little cheat sheet here. This is a book that kind of tells you how to set the lifters on this, and right now we're on the step of getting the engine to top dead center. So what you're going to want to do is either find this is just on a D311 4-inch bore, 4-inch stroke manual. So we have to remove the flywheel pointer cover, which we've already done, so I'll show you that real quick. So if you're sitting in the machine, it'd be on your driver's side, down on the flywheel housing. You can see it down there. We took the cover off and flipped it up. And right now, it's hard to see. I got you at a weird angle, but we are at top dead center number 1. So we're at top dead center number 1. Let's move to the next page. And you want to make sure you turn the crankshaft in the direction of engine rotation. Now the direction of rotation on a Cat D2 5U model is counterclockwise. The fan's going to turn toward me. So we turned the engine to top center number 1, and this plunger started to come up. So we know we're pretty well in the right spot. So here's kind of a photo of what you should be looking for, and we do see that. It's just hard to show you guys. So now we're going to get a depth gauge and measure the distance between the top of this yoke here, which I think you guys can see, and the top of the machine surface. So the measurement is supposed to be 1.736 inches, and to do this, here's a photo. You're kind of measuring top machine surface here to the yoke, and if you're doing 1, you can just set 1. We're going to do this whole tractor, so we got to do it in the firing order. The firing order of this tractor is 1342. Sorry. So we're setting 1, and we're going to set 3. Then we're going to set 4, and then we're going to set 2. So right now we're on 1. We're going to measure and see what we're at. Okay guys, so I think we're about an hour and a half here later. What we were trying to do was loosen up those jam nuts. We do not have the recommended Caterpillar tooling because it is unobtainium. So what we got here is a wide variety of things we tried to get all of this stuff loose. A lot we made. You can tell we got a 5/16 wrench here that is very custom. Couple things here. Before I tell you guys, I just want you guys to guess and say what you think I used. So if you guessed all of like this, or this, you're dead wrong. If you guessed this, you're wrong. This, you're wrong. We ended up using a custom 14mm wrench that we had to grind down, and the end of a damn jack handle that was crushed to spec. Now, that jack handle went down onto the end of the yoke perfectly, and then I had this 14mm wrench while my dad was pushing, and we were pulling at the same time, and we got it. So everyone's loose, so now we can finally start setting them. So we'll get set up for that now. Okay, so we've started our measurements. So our spec we're trying to get to is 1.811 inches. The service manual tells us that the the spec is 1.736, but because we have a little piece of metal here, we have to add that on to spec, which the metal we measured at 0.075, and we added those two together and we got our 1.811 inches. So our measurement before was 1.827, too low, so we're 16 thousandths too low, or 16 thousandths too low. So like I said, that could cause slobber, and it's actually messing up with the timing. So we are take that off. So we are currently at 1.8115, which the 5 is the 10,000, so I'm going to say that's pretty damn good. All I did was I turned the yoke up. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to tighten down the jam nut again. We want to make sure that this spill port here is facing toward the inside of the engine block. You don't want it pointing over here. So make sure that your spill port's pointing that way. So we're going to tighten the jam nut down now. Okay, so like we said, we got our measurement here, and I cinched the jam nut back down, and we double checked again our measurement, and we're floating between 1.8110 and 1.8115, so that's good. We're going to go ahead and move to the next one in the firing order, which firing order is 1, 3, 4, 2. So we're going to move to 3 now. So we're going to do the same exact thing. We'll meet you back here when we got all of our measurements done. Okay guys, another thing I failed to mention is once you get your measurement set, which ours is the 1.811, you want to rotate the engine a few degrees more past your timing line, which I'll show you. You guys can kind of not see it, but we went past the pointer down there, and what we want to see is a reading less than what we originally set. That tells us that the lifter's still coming up, and we are at 1.7975, so we're good. So we know we set it in the right spot. We want to make sure that we do that every time. Okay, so we went through and we're on number 2 now. We ran everyone, we checked everyone, we moved everyone, and then we double checked again after we'd done everyone, and we ran through again. Here's what we were at before. We were pretty low, which obviously will compensate for the wear on the gears. So now we're in the good spots. So we're gonna have to do now, I'm gonna clean this whole area up here, and then I'm gonna clean up all of the plungers, get all the dirt and stuff off of them, and we're gonna reinstall. So, I do have to get some grease off of these as well, so we'll do that too. But that'll be the next thing we're gonna do, and I'll turn this back on when I go get ready to install the plungers again. So, alright, so this was a little hard to show at the GoPro, but I got all of the plungers. All the plungers are back installed onto the machine. So now what we're going to do is put the actual pump units back on, and then put all the fuel lines back on, and we're going to test run it. So put each one of these on now. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and install number 1, or 4 I should say. We'll slowly set this on, and it's going to be a tight fit, just like that. So we'll set that on. I'm going to speed you guys up on the rest. So Okay, so we got all the pumps back in. We're going to go ahead and draw them down with the bolts. Then we're going to go ahead and put the cover back on. So. I'm going to go ahead and tighten these down, each pump. Alright, so we got all of our pumps tightened down. I'm going to quick wash all the excess diesel off. And then I'm going to put this cover back on. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the lines back on. So I'm going to clean this cover off and put that back on. Sure these are tight now. Yep. Okay, so we're outside now. I replaced the fuel filters. I didn't show that on video. And before we did all this work, we put the fuel gauge on like I had mentioned. So we're going to try to start this thing now. Now, we do probably have to prime it again. So we're going to crack all these lines and let the fuel get back up to the system. Probably it's going to take a little bit, but we're going to have to go ahead and get the pony motor started right now, and we'll get the pony started. So. Yep. Alright, so D2's back inside after test driving it, after doing the fuel timing, and the verdict is it still has, I think we were getting rid of some of the residue of the old oil in the manifold, which you can see I took the stack off. But I do think that it is way, 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 way better than it was. I had oil before running out of, I think it was 2 and 3. 2 was really bad. 2 would run all the way down past the Caterpillar logo, and it would be really shooting out of here, these holes here really bad. You can kind of see in my hands it was still kind of coming out, but for the amount of this thing works too, I don't think it's too bad. We are going to fix these holes here and put a muffler on it, I think, too, and really clamp it down, and I think that's going to solve our issues. Hopefully burn up whatever little bit of droplets of oil there are in the baffles of the muffler. But overall, I think the fuel timing did play a very good part in helping the slobber issue. So if you have a D2, whether it's a 3J, 4J, 4U, or 5U, or any diesel tractor anywhere, I think fuel timing is a big necessity to making sure these old engines run right and aren't slobbering. So if you like this video, please subscribe, and thanks for watching, guys.